You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we will be dissecting another England batting collapse. I think, to be honest, here Ross, I'm Jacko, by the way. To be honest here, Ross, that's Ross Legg, by the way. I think we could rename this podcast the England Batting Collapse Podcast at this point, because we must have done 15 of these shows over the last 2.5 years, right?
Yeah, I've just got my notes up from some of the previous test matches that we played this year. I'm just going to go through those.
Yeah, it is. It's disappointing. You know, England, they go into the day with so much hope, and it's by midnight, basically, UK time, already looking pretty tricky. And by 1 o'clock, the game is definitely over. It took them less than an hour and a half to completely extinguish any chance they had of doing something in this match. Ross, before we get going, what are the listening messages? Early morning
messages. That we are sponsored by Woodstock Cricket. Use code TCB25 for 25% off. We also have Twitter and Instagram, and you should follow us at the Cricket Pod. Go onto there. We'll take some really hot takes on Twitter when we were a little bit drunk like we were last night and having a go at Ollie Pope or whatever it was, Jack, that you were doing.
Well, I mean, we'll get to it, but it's justified, isn't it?
And then if you're watching us on YouTube, press like to this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also go on to Patreon, as more and more stuff is going on to Patreon that will be announced. And there's we're going to do a Christmas show.
We're going to do a Christmas show, yeah. We've got to fit it in. It's quite busy, isn't it? You know, doing a daily show for the Ashes, watching the Ashes. Fortunately, I'm winding down a little bit in terms of my actual day job now. I've got a nice chunk of leave coming up, so we'll have some more time. But
Christmas show every day.
Christmas show every day, yeah. What did you think? This is just, you know, filler, so that we don't have to talk about the cricket. What did you think about the Patreon idea, the monthly quiz for Patreons?
Oh, so yeah, well, we can go for that. Oh, well, it's not up to me, is it? It's up to our valued listener, valued listener. Yeah. That's what it's all about. And so if you want to do a monthly quiz, get in touch, and we'll set something up. Get
on the Patreon, patreon.com/the Cricket Pod. $5 US, £4, 6 Aussie dollars, or 7 Aussie dollars, depending on the fluctuations in price, and 440 rupees, I think is what it was, which covers the main demographics there. Of the show. Ross, you're going to do the summary today.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. That's what you always want. Fine. Here we go. So starting the day at 220 for 2, it was looking like England had remembered how to play cricket. Hopes were high. The Christmas spirit was being imbued across Britain as we turned on for 11:30 last night to watch Daddy Root at the crease with Australian specialist Milan at the other end.
Uncle Dawid.
Both well set. Yeah, Uncle Dawid. Both well set in the 80s. And yeah, it was one of those moments where it was either going to go one of two ways. We were going to cruise into the distance. We would be driving home for Christmas and driving to victory, or we would be falling out of the cab and puking on ourselves and collapsing yet again. And unfortunately, England had one too many mulled wines, and it was clear that today was going to be a day of disappointment, of dads not turning up with Christmas presents.
It was, good analogy.
It was one of those moments which, as you said at the start of the show, Jack, was just all too familiar in the England household. And there's a number of different reasons for this, but I think it was because everything went wrong. Like everything, the technology broke. We didn't get to see about 8 overs of the game's play. The no ball technology wasn't working. Hawkeye wasn't working.
Harmison wasn't working.
Harmison tried to do ball-by-ball commentary when he couldn't see what was going on. Unbelievable. And I'm guessing that on the way to the hotel, unconfirmed reports that the clown car dropped them off instead of the team bus because Biggles, Tutu and Jelly Bean kind of came out, and they continued to come out into their pads, embarrassing themselves one after the other. Nathan Lyon took his 400th wicket, which what an achievement, becomes the third all-time, or is the third all-time greatest Australian bowler. And from there, it just one after the other, just we threw it away. There was again a very, very small bit of resistance from Butler. Wokes hung around for a little bit, but all of the bowlers just decided, I can have a bit of this. Hazelwood got a wicket, Cummins got a wicket, Green got a wicket, Lyon got a wicket. It's
a feeling frenzy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, England were. Yeah, it was just. Pretty painful to sit through. So let's dissect it, Jack.
All right, let's go. This is one of those ones, I think, where we're best going roughly chronologically. Mm-hmm. I will be honest, and I think probably a lot of England fans did this. Didn't England lose a wicket just before lunch? Maybe Wood was out, and then Leach had to bat. I just turned the TV. They might have done the extra half an hour, but I was just like, nah, I can't be bothered to watch 9 and 10. See if they can extend this lead from 18 to 30, and then watch the Aussies knock that off. I'm just going to go to bed. So I didn't see the very end of this, but I did see everything else, and it started. Yeah, it's the hope that kills you, as they say, and we had hope. You and Max yesterday, you seemed to think England had a lot of hope going into this.
I thought that we'd shown how to bat. Like the pitch didn't have loads of demons in it, did it? It was sitting there. It was like it couldn't have been better. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. England were 2 bowlers well set. They'd still got the old ball, and it was one of those bits around. Okay, all we have to do is just counter attack a little bit. And unfortunately, David Milan and Joe Root, I don't know, they almost both went into their shell. Like David Milan getting out, Jack. What I've got written here is that. When obviously Gary Lyon took his 400th wicket to start the proceedings, but Milan played almost a nothing shot. Like it was the only way I could describe it is that almost like when you're playing changing room cricket and someone doesn't quite know the rules. When you're all cramped in, someone's got a bit of a spinner going, and he's almost panicked, run down the crease, and realised I can't play any aggressive shots here, and he's just nudged it straight to a very close field. It was just a bit nothingness.
Yeah, I did. He'd done it a couple of times, hadn't he? He came down the wicket earlier in that over, and hit it with his bat, the middle of his bat, which was important in this situation. They were speculating on comms, and this was their one good piece of analysis, and the rest of it was either the generator packing up or like people shouting over each other and laughing at things you don't understand. But they said that the presence of the silly mid-off had changed, maybe got in Milan's head and changed how he was playing from the day before. And I think that might actually be true. I think Milan was a little bit worried about being stuck on his crease, playing the ball in that danger area, as they say with spinners. What is it? If the ball pitches and it travels 2 meters before reaching the bat, but less than 3 meters, then you're in that danger area where you get edges, or you chip the ball up, or you get bowled. And so I think Milan, he was worried that he'd pop one up, I think, to Labuschagne under the lid. And so his intention, I think it was like an okay intention, was to get down the wicket, meet the ball so early that the silly mid-off was effectively out of the equation. Unfortunately, he sort of just left the getting down the wicket bit so late. He set off after the ball was in the air. He got about half a step in. He didn't get a stride into the actual shot at all, did he? He was just sort of walking. Head was going all over the place, and it was a little bit of it was quite a technical wicket to lose. Does that make sense? There were a few flaws on show there. We did say on our preview, and we've said it about Milan a few times, that he isn't the greatest player of spin, and Australia were likely to target him with Nathan Lyon, the off-spinner, who's a good bowler against left-handers, very good bowler against left-handers. And I think Lyon, maybe after seeing him come down the wicket, bowled a little quicker, bowled a little shorter, and it was good bowling, I thought. It's a shame for Milan. In terms of going into their shell, I think England. You speculated about this yesterday as well. You were sort of saying that England have to use the 8 overs before the new ball in the morning to try and score 30 runs, try and score 40 runs, so that when the new ball comes, England are much nearer to parity. I think that would have been the right approach, but I don't think that's what they were trying to do. I think they were like in hang in there mode, and I think had Milan been a bit more proactive and just tried to hit it through mid-wicket, what's the worst case scenario there? He chips it over mid-on, probably, or chips it up in the air and it clears the infield. Yeah, situational problems.
We're not good at hanging about. Like it's just like none of the batsmen have really demonstrated their ability to like Dom Sibley, and Dom Sibley not in the team, who can kind of bat that kind of sit and bat. I'm going to bat for 100 balls kind of thing. Joe Denley was in the team to do that very thing. It's like, the dentary. But we don't have the ability to do that. We've got some technically very gifted players. Who are good on the attack, right? And I'm not saying you have to go at kind of 80 or 90 strike rate in Test cricket, but you saw what was working for Pope and Butler in the first innings of trying to move your feet. They had all the evidence of yesterday of how to play against Gary Lyon. Yes, the introduction of a silly mid-on could have got your head right, but you adapt. There is still a bit like Australia can get wickets, that's fine, but Joe Root, feathered it behind?
This is
nothing
it,
shot as well.
Yeah. It's worth spending some time talking about these wickets because they effectively do end the game, don't they? Your two set batters are gone before the new ball comes.
Chasm through the dressing room, right? We talked about confidence being built up yesterday, and if you go out
and Dad's out.
You got all the baying Aussies there, and it's just like,
there weren't that many baying Aussies. It was a very sparse crowd.
I'm guessing that's for COVID regulations.
I don't know. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they're just like, I'm not going to pay for a full day's cricket when I know that England are going to be rolled by lunch. Maybe they just knew that.
It's like it's the Simpsons meme, isn't it? It's like, stop it, he's already dead.
There were a lot of stormtroopers though. Did you see the stormtroopers? I'm assuming you did.
Yeah, I did. Because I kept on hearing the trumpet.
Well, they had 3 trumpets. Take that, Barmy Army. Your one trumpet. Anyway, Root. A similar story, I think. It was. I think he was caught in two minds in a sense. Like, do I want to put bat and ball here and put the pressure on the Australians, look to score runs, push it into the offside, put their 5th bowler, who has had a difficult start to Test cricket from a bowling perspective and from a batting perspective as well, put him under pressure, make Cummins do something he doesn't want to do, put him under the pressure that Root himself was under when Lyon and Stokes were going around the park. Or do you want to wait for the new ball? And if you're waiting for the new ball, then if someone sends down a completely innocuous delivery, a whole set of stumps outside off stump, then you have to let it go. And it was neither of them, was it? It was neither climbing into the shot, looking to score runs, punch through the covers, or I'm going to be the one to take responsibility and make sure that somebody set is there when the new ball comes because I've just lost my batting partner. And it's very hard to dig out Root, isn't it? 89 of 165, his top scorer in Australia. A great innings overall. He'd love to have turned up, but 89 runs is still, that's a contribution.
It's a contribution, right? But that's their own fault. In the first day, they didn't do their job.
It is.
They put themselves in that situation, and they would, as you said, use the word responsibility there. That is the bit that they just didn't bloody do again. Again, it was that bit of going, you've got the most senior batsman in the team. You've got Dawid Malan, who's on his 3rd chance in Test cricket. He's been picked to play in Australia. And then he's got petrified by Nathan Lyon, who's not taken a wicket in a year. And it's a bit like, just that, as you talked about pressure. If you would have tried to move your feet properly and hit him out the attack, force Cummins to make a decision, because Cummins hadn't been put under any real pressure really out of this Test match. Again,
he was under pressure yesterday. I think the partnership of 150, it took the game from, I don't know, 95%, 98% Australian to 70%, 75% Australian. But yeah, it was only ever an implied threat. When you're 58 runs behind for 2 wickets, even if you've got 2 set batters and they're going well, it's still, they could add another 50 each, and you're still not in a great position. If you're 40 ahead for the loss of 3, you're probably going to lose that match. Root and Milan had to go on, and they didn't. They were out. Brought Ben Stokes to the crease. From what we saw, this is when the generator crapped out, and so they had to film it. They were broadcasting someone's phone, I think, in the UK. He looked all right-ish. Tried to see off the new ball, didn't work in the end. Cummins got him caught in the gully, squaring him up. Is Ben Stokes undercooked? We don't really know, do we? It's.
I think it's fine to say yes. Like, there's no bit there. Like he's not right. He's not as much as Ben Stokes is kind of the knight in shining armour. He's not going to be bringing the cavalry.
No, but he's never been like your opening batter or someone expected to see off the new ball. He's twice in this match. He's had to bat against a fresh Pat Cummins with a new ball, and it's Ben Stokes is a good player. He's not Brian Lara. It's not. You can't expect him to smack the great bowlers of the world off their lengths with the new ball because he can, because he's a freak. He's a good player. He's a solid, dependable middle order player who has an excellent range of attacking shots when the conditions favour him. The conditions didn't favour him in either innings in this test, and he'll be disappointed. But it's to be expected, to be honest, that a player like him gets out to the best bowler in the world when the best bowler in the world is fresh and has a new ball. It's completely expectable.
Hopefully he puts to bed Ben Stokes should bat the solution is batting at 3. Like every single time, it's just like it'd be in the first over every single fucking game.
Well, that's the big problem. Maybe we can talk about some of the structural stuff in a moment. Pope, he's just a walking wicket against spin. That's such a poor way to get out.
We were told, and we've been told time and time again. I'm not sure who does his PR. Like he must have an unbelievable crack kind of PR team.
Unbelievable crack.
Unbelievable crack. He might be on it. But there's like we were told, like this guy's the prodigal son, wasn't it? That's what we were told. He was like, this guy's unbelievable against spin.
We averaged 60 in county championship cricket.
Well, he might even be higher than that. Surrey averages 90, doesn't he? And it's a bit like, you got to convert it sooner rather than later and read the condition. He got bounced out by Nathan Lyon,
but he didn't get bounced out by Nathan. But what happened was he completely misread the length, and this is Pope's problem. Yeah, Pope doesn't play spin like good players of spin play spin. Good players of spin, what they do is they read the length. They get forward, they get back. We talked about the danger zone with Dawid Malan. He got caught in the danger zone. That area, 2 metres from where the ball pitches to the meeting of the bat, if you can hit the ball in that space, on the full, on the drive, then you'll have success against spin. You'll smother the spin, if you like. Or do what Joe Root does so well. You see Joe Root doing this all the time. He's back on his stumps, playing square of the wicket, and it looks scary because his pads are like right there. The ball's coming from middle stump, but he's given himself so long. His interception point is 5 metres after the ball's pitched. He can play it off the pitch unless something freakish happens. He's just going to tuck that away for a single, tuck that away for a couple of runs. Pope doesn't do either of those things. Pope does what English batters do in the county championship because there aren't any top quality spinners. In the county championship, what you do is you watch the ball out the hand, you play the line of the ball like they're a medium pacer because the deviation off the pitch is not going to be great. You try and get outside the line to really kill off LBW, and that's it. That's it. You're playing the line and you're maybe protecting LBW. They're the 2 technical things that you've got going on in your head. Now that's fine when the best spinner in the league is Danny Briggs, yeah. But you're playing with the big boys now. It's Nathan Lyon is giving the ball a rip. He's getting loads of top spin on it. He's getting drift. He was in really good rhythm yesterday. You can't afford to go back to a ball that's on a length like that unless you're way back and playing it with a straight bat. He got caught in the danger zone. The ball did something he didn't expect, and he chips an easy catch to slip. To be honest, I don't know if you saw the pitch map of this. If you want to have a look at it, CricViz did a pitch map of where all the balls bounced for Lyon. The ball that Pope got out to cutting is, almost a full delivery. If he'd gone forward to it like he should have done, he would not have been out. The ball would have bounced up a little bit, but he'd have been able to ride it. He'd have got over the top of it. Wouldn't have been out. What he's done is he's played the line. He's seen that's wide of off stump. I'm going to cut it. It's not going to spin. It's not going to do anything. Spinners never do anything. And an international spinner has got something out of the pitch because he's got 400 fucking wickets. And
day 4 pitch as well. Like, yeah. It's not got loads of demons in it, has it?
And he's paid the price for an issue, and he will not translate his potential or his performances in first class cricket until that gets better. It just won't happen, because that will happen over and over and over again. That'll kill every innings he plays.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how Ashwin had him on toast, right?
Yeah, Ashwin's good.
Yeah,
The thing is, if you look at his breakdown as well, most batters have a weakness when the ball's spinning away from them, because it brings the outside edge into play, but also it can slide on and pin you LBW. It makes sense. Pope, though, it's just bad against anyone who gives it some spin. Like I think his test average against spin is 22. It's just too easy a tactic. You can beat any type of spinner here: off spinner, leg spinner, left arm orthodox.
I know what, the only time he's ever hit runs for England is against South Africa, whose spinners aren't very good. Like Maharaj as a test spinner is not brilliant.
And the pitches don't take much spin at all. So you can actually get away with the English style of playing spin there, where you just sort of play the line, not the length. And most of the time you'll be okay, because the pitches are so true.
He's just so frustrating, and I mean Max absolutely loves him.
Look, this is the thing, isn't it? You're looking at a guy who, when he's playing seam up bowling, or when he's playing in favourable conditions, dominates. He was great at the Oval against India on that day 2 pitch earlier this year. Well, he scored 75, and he scored them quickly, and he scored them off like Bumrah. He looked in fine touch. He was great. He had innings against Pakistan the year before where he looked excellent, and then that innings against South Africa. But it's sadly just a bit too easy to get him out if you bowl spin, and everybody knows that, and he's just going to get punished over and over. I don't really know what the answer is. I mean, it's another flaw in the England system. How have they not noticed that this guy is this bad? Something he's going to have to do all the time in international cricket. I think it's 40% of the overs in international cricket are spin. Now, obviously, that's massively skewed by places like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, where 85% of the overs are spin. But it's still going to be pretty difficult to be an international quality batter if you're averaging 20 against a whole category. If you average 20 against seam bowling, they wouldn't go near you. That's what we've got. That's the number 6. Butler played some shots. It was annoying, but the game was over. But at least Butler might have entertained, and we couldn't really watch that.
But England, in the whole session, 8 wickets for 77 runs in the end, and it was just a procession. Like, it was that bit where it was so inevitable, and there was always that bit like. England seem to pick people, or have picked either their spinner in Dom Bess or seamers who can they can contribute with the bat. And this is because our batsmen continued to fail. And Butler batting at 7, or batting at 6, batting at 7. Is that he must time and time again be like, lads, I've got a game that I've built around white ball supremacy. Give me something that I can come and take this in. And he's never really done it. He's never really taken the game away from people. He's done it, 3 or 4 good test innings, or 3 or 4 properly good matches. And he's one of the better players now. But he hasn't set the world on fire. I'm not having a go at Josh Butler. I'm just saying that England's like one of their most talented batsmen, is just let down time and time again by people who should be doing better at their own jobs.
Just quickly, if you're watching it on YouTube, or wherever, listening on Spotify, listening on iTunes, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit follow. If there's anything that looks like a bell on any of those platforms, click that as well, because then you'll get notifications from us. If you can leave a comment or a review, leave a review. Someone called us the best cricket podcast out there the other day, Jacob G, on iTunes, 5 stars. You heard it from me, but you can go and look on iTunes and confirm that. Thank you, Jacob. And if you're on YouTube, also click like. We like being liked. That's what it's all about. Yeah, go on, Ross. You'll go back to the cricket now. I was going to say the tail got mopped up pretty quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say Ollie Robinson looks like a number 11. Like for a guy with a couple of first class centuries, like the way he plays.
Does he have a couple of first class centuries?
I think he's got a couple of first. I might have read that. I might have dreamt it, but I think he's got a couple of first class centuries.
That needs to be checked.
If we had Dan Weston on, he'd be like, no. But for a guy who's supposedly be able to bat, like actually, he like doesn't really look that convincing, unfortunately. But we've focused on how bad the English batting is because obviously it's quite funny and it's embarrassing for England. But I thought the Australian bowling lineup was actually well managed. I thought they bowled to a plan. You talk about the England tail get mopped up. They kept Stark back on to bowl kind of some short stuff and rattle people. One of them almost took off Mark Wood's head. Wokes kind of played an okay innings, like survived nearly 50 balls. But again, like, there's just that inevitability of going, well, what are we going to do here, lads? And we have managed to eke out a little bit of a lead, didn't we?
Well, we made them bat again. I think that was the game plan, wasn't it? From I don't know, Stokes being out onwards. It was like this game's now officially over. Well, while it's Stokes and Butler, there's a 2% chance, a 1% chance that both of them get centuries and Australia have to chase 180. Soon as Stokes has gone, you know, that's it, isn't it? The game is officially over. But it is humiliating to lose by an innings. To lose 8 for 60 this morning, or yesterday morning, and 147 for 10 on the first day. It's embarrassing, to be honest, isn't it, if you're a professional sports team? So especially one that is geared for this. This is we've talked about it in the last two shows. Every single narrative in England, every ECB selector and chairman or whatever is always about, it's all about the Ashes. All about the Ashes. And it's this arrogance, so we spoke about with Max on yesterday's show, that just fucks me off. Like, we're not good anyway, and then we piss about with players who are just not good enough, and we do not set ourselves up for success. Our Red Bull domestic cricket is kind of truncated into, split into the two arse ends of the summer. You've also got a bit where everything is geared towards white ball cricket. And there's then that inevitable, it's a surprise. It always comes as a surprise to Joe Root. It comes as a surprise to England fans that we're bad at what we're doing. We got rid of the layer of accountability by getting rid of Ed Smith, right? Everyone was just like, Ed Smith, genius, took the piss, can't get a good selector, he's making all these wrong decisions. It should be Chris Silverwood's responsibility to pick this team. Chris Silverwood is not very good at picking the team. I think it's as basic as that. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? You don't really get people calling for the manager to be sacked, do you, in cricket? But
bring Allardyce into the end of the
Ashes. I'll tell you what, if this was football, there's no chance that wouldn't be. He'd have the confidence of the board email would be going out today. It is bad. They are bad. There's nothing else to add.
Varaj just put in the chat, bring Bairstow in, he's flexible, he can bat at any place in any situation. He can, and he'll just get zero, so not a good idea. It's
very dependable. You can always depend on him to score no runs. I was sort of saying on that Pope thing, there's just a lack of joined up thinking in general in England. I don't think when they play first class cricket is the problem, or how many divisions there are, or what format it is. I think there are some problems with the ball, probably, in first class cricket, making it a bit too easy to be a right arm medium pacer, meaning that all we produce are right arm medium pacers and batters that are okay against right arm medium pacers and no well rounded cricketers whatsoever. I think it's a problem that the ground in the UK where they bowl the most spin, Taunton, I think it's 30th or 40th in world cricket for number of overs of spin bowled per innings. And that's such a problem that the ECB have regularly fined Somerset for making their pitches too spin friendly. They're both problems. I think it's an issue that they don't have a selection process. Like you say, like you touch on there, they've got Chris Silverwood and a bunch of scouts, but nobody really knows how those scouts work or what it is they're looking for. Do they have a depth chart, for instance? Do they have a depth chart?
What's the supercomputer saying?
Yeah, well, it's. But if you take New Zealand cricket, one of the things they do, I'm led to believe, is that they have their 1 to 11, and then they have who would be the backup for each of those players, and who would be the backup to the backup for each of those players. looking across New Zealand domestic cricket and the sort of wider squad that they've got, so that they know when somebody goes down injured, or somebody has a run of poor form or whatever, they know who they're turning to, and that person who's being turned to is aware of what they're going to have to step in and do, and has somebody from the New Zealand setup working with them to make sure that they have the skills to do that. What regularly happens with England is that somebody comes in, take Hamid. Why did he come in? He came in because he was good against some right arm seamers on nibbly pitches in England. He's thrown in his first match at Lords. He's facing Siraj and Bumrah, and they're too fast for him. It's obvious that they're too fast for him. Now, has he just not practiced against fast bowling? Did he not know that he was on England's radar and might need to work on this? Maybe he was concentrating on his Notts career and producing runs for Notts, and hadn't really been thinking about what skills he needed to work on for international cricket. But it was pretty clear he was out of his depth on that occasion. Pope with spin again. It's like there's what these 12 scouts here, they must see that he's good. The next step is obviously like, well, let's look at his game in a bit more detail and see where.
I think they're phoning it in a little bit, aren't they? Like, sorry,
it's a pretty easy gig, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're batting at 5 or 6 at the Oval and you're playing county cricket, you're having a dream.
Well, yeah, you are. You are, but that's not a problem. I mean, it's not a problem that England have got a player in their middle order who's got experience scoring loads of runs and batting for time and scoring those runs quickly and taking the game away from the other team, doing a Travis Head. And that isn't a problem that England have somebody with that skill talent or that skill set. What is a problem is that he has this massive glaring flaw in his game. And nobody has said to him, until he's played international cricket, maybe work on playing at spin. And now he's in international cricket, and it's hard enough, getting yourself in the right frame of mind for a test match. It's hard enough executing the skills that you have got. He doesn't average 50 against right arm seam bowling in international cricket. It's more like 40. That would be good enough, yeah. That would be good enough, even though that's a full drop off from county cricket. That would be good enough if his average against spin was 30. He would be basically Ben Stokes, and England's middle order would be all right. But it isn't like that because nobody's addressed these problems. They come in, they're undercooked, they get destroyed by somebody. People are like, "Oh, Ashwin, what a bowler!" It's like it's a buffet. It's a buffet of terrible players for him, and he is a great bowler. I mean, don't get me wrong. But it's easy for him. You could see how easy it was for him and Akshar Patel in India to run through them. You saw how easy it was.
They were puppet masters.
For Bumrah and Siraj a couple of times in the summer, just to crank it up a little bit, and it was too hot. England got out of the kitchen.
Yeah. Well, I like your point around the kind of the depth chart stuff, Jack. And I think the people who kind of almost like personify that are people like Moeen Ali and Johnny Bairstow, and how they've kind of been used in this England setup. It's always that. Oh, they don't work. Let's turn to again. We've got a gap in the team at 7. We've got a gap in the team at 3. Oh, we need an opener. And it is always that bit of just going, instead of having some openers ready, instead of like looking, going, we're just like, maybe Moeen's the answer at opening the batting in Test cricket. Like his best skill set is playing against spin bowling. Where do we think he's going to work? Right?
Number 3.
Oh, Johnny. Yeah,
we need a number
Bairstow.
3.
Yeah, it is, right? And Johnny Bairstow is just like, do you know what? This guy's an unbelievably good white ball player. He's super strong down the ground. Like he's working on his white ball game to take him to that next level. He's clearly got all it takes. Yeah, but he doesn't play the swinging ball particularly well, and all they're going to do is target the in-swing and just outswing. And he's just like, it's going to be another outswinger. No, Johnny, it's an in-swinger. It's an in-swinger, mate. And it's just that bit where
classic trap.
It's almost like we set people up for failure.
That's exactly what is happening, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just really, really frustrating. And I just think, I think even the basics, right? In white ball cricket, England have the Lemon Man, and I'm guessing he works with their test team as well. But there is a piece here around who starts to take the blame for this. Yes, we're not as good as some of the other teams in world cricket.
Most of the
but
other
there
teams,
is,
yeah.
but there is a bit, right, when we just like we pour so much money into the game in England, and yet we still get the same results. Something has to change, and whether that is structurally, or whether it's the personnel who are involved, I don't know. But at the moment, it's not working.
Right, two things left on our agenda. Nathan Lyon and questions. Nathan Lyon, 400 wickets. Took him a while to go from like 390 to 400.
4 COVID variants.
Yeah, he looked pretty decent this morning after struggling for most of the rest of the match. How great is Nathan Lyon?
I think he got the monkey off his back, right? Like sometimes there's that bit where you just build up something in your head, and milestones for cricketers, regardless of what people kind of say, are actually a pretty big deal. That's why you get the nervous 90s. That's why people in amateur cricket shit the bed when they're in the 40s and they're ahead of their first 50, right? People, like, the milestones in cricket are a big deal. And Nathan Lyon looked like, one, he had his swagger back today. And Nathan has he's spun a web before against England, right, Jack? He has been.
Yeah, he's been a thorn, one of the thorns in the England side.
Yeah, he was also a point of hilarity, right? But that's the kind of character that he is. And I kind of just think that for Australia to have someone, so you've got Glenn McGrath and Shane Warner's kind of 2 and 1 there, 1 and 2. And then Gary Lyon coming in at 3 and being able to have that spinner available to them of that high class, like being able to bowl in Australia, where we've seen it can be a spinner's graveyard in Australia. It's a monumental achievement, I think, for Gary.
Yeah, I think that about sums it up. You know, as an off spinner, he's carved out a pretty stellar career bowling in quite unfriendly conditions for Australia and in Australia. Sorry. And I think, in a sense, has mastered his own form of bowling. He bowls with like loads of overspin, gets the ball to kick out of the pitch. Basically gets people out how he got Pope out. Surprises them with the one that kicks up. Men around the bat. That sort of thing. And you can't shake your head at 400 wickets, can you? It's a career and a half that he has had. Over on Patreon, Adam Dallamore's been in touch, and this is sort of a string of questions. I will read them all out. Why are England so predictable? That's number 1. So you count the questions, Ross. 1 question. This is now becoming a common thing. We do so well to come back into the game last night, and then within a session, lose all of our remaining wickets. I thought batting collapses were incredibly common with club cricket, but England as a test team seem to make it their own. Here are the questions. Why does this always seem to happen? Good bowling? Poor team selection? Or just don't know how to adapt to different situations? Sorry for the run, just incredibly disappointed with how our second innings ended. And VJ's added to this. Indeed, it was disappointing. I wonder what they plan to change or improve batting-wise in the next few days for the next game, which will be a bowler-friendly match with the pink ball in Adelaide. So Ross, why are England so predictable? Why do they keep making the same mistake over and over again?
Well, I guess because we keep playing the same players, right? Yeah. That fundamentally is that the people who are collapsing, right, are the same guys who are collapsing. We're doing that classic thing of expecting different results from doing the same thing. And it's just, as I said, that is why this is frustrating. Siddharth is having a bit of a go in the live chat at the moment, saying that if we had a go at India when they lost against New Zealand. But this is what cricket's about, right? This is cricket. Like, people lose, but there are reasons for teams losing. India don't really lose that often at Test cricket. England have lost an awful lot in Test cricket in the last 3 years.
Yeah. Whilst they have a player literally doing the best ever for the
you know when I brought up Spurs yesterday, I think, but you know when Spurs were labelled the Harry Kane team, we are the Joe Root team.
Yeah.
Like, England are the Joe Root team, but even he can't do everything. Like, he managed to.
No, it's very difficult for one man to score 250 runs a match, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's given it a good bloody go. I mean, he pretty much did that in Sri Lanka. He hit a century in India,
He's
and then
probably
in
done
the summer,
it in 4 matches this year.
Yeah, and it's just, he's just like, lads, what else can I do here? Yes, he threw away his wicket.
Do you want me to juggle?
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so him, and like he must just be thinking like, lads, come on. Ben Stokes does it once in every 10 innings. That's like a good solid inning. Maybe one every 8. It's probably a bit unfair. But the others around him, guys, come on. There's not. I wish for one of our batsmen to put their hand up and go, I'm going to blast 150 like Travis Head did. Oh my God, it was the stats that you read out. Like you read out that he would be our second best batsman, Travis Head, in terms of test average. Mitchell Stark, which I think I took a picture of this last night or retweeted it, I think. But Mitchell Stark is a higher batting average than half of the England team.
The whole top order.
Yes, since 2019. Mitchell Stark.
Was it Burns, Hamid, Pope?
Butler probably. Yeah. But and it's just like that. Like that is embarrassing. His average is like 33. It's just not good enough.
Yeah, I think there is like some preparation stuff in there as well. I think some of these players probably are good enough to be Test match players. I mean, like Rory Burns is the classic example of this, right? He's got like Test match centuries, he's got Test match 50s, he's played against some of the best bowlers in the world, he's got 2 Ashes tons. He looked at home against India at points in the home summer. But then also does like these horrifically bad things early in his innings. Surely there's, I don't know, maybe he needs a mindset coach or something like that to get him in the zone before he goes out to bat, because it happens. We see this over and over and over again, the same mistakes.
We said it on the show, didn't we, yesterday, saying that just go out, just when everyone else is doing like the national anthem and all that kind of stuff, just have the bowling coach, or literally take Stuart Broad out. Stuart Broad's carrying on the drinks at the moment. Go on, Rory. I'm going to open up the bowling against you. Do it on one of the pitches. Fucking go and do something that makes it a little bit different for you.
Yeah.
Just do something that gets that feet moving. And because after he's faced 25 balls, he looks all right. But 25 balls in Test cricket against elite bowlers like Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood, you're not going to get that opportunity.
Just the way he gets out is what is, baffling. Like bowled round your legs, first ball of the Test. It's to a leg stump half volley. That's weak.
I've been bowled around my legs before, and it was embarrassing in that cricket, let alone in Test cricket.
Do you remember it was at Lords when England had to bat 50 overs to save the game on the world's flattest pitch?
It was India.
Yeah, and first ball, he managed to hit a ball from outside leg stump to like short cover.
Yeah, and they looked at the pitch as if it was it's the pitch's fault.
It's like they're quite bad mistakes to be making early in your innings. But I like to the point where it's not like he's a bit weak outside off stump early. He's just weak in general. I think there must be something. There must be something you can work on there.
I think weak in terms of his technique there, but I don't think he's also demonstrated, as you said, like he's got Test centuries.
Yeah, but this is what I mean.
In the last Ashes, that he was the second highest run scorer on the England side, and so there is something about him. That's why he's kind of proven I can face these guys in difficult conditions. But at the moment, we also have to bear in mind it is the first Test. There was a little bit of hope for England yesterday. The inevitable collapse today shouldn't be too much of a surprise to England fans, but we go again. Next we'll be back for the second Test.
What's your revised prediction? Now that we know the final Test is going to be Hobart Day nicer.
Well, I think I said 3-1, didn't I? Yeah. I'm going to stick to my 3-1.
I think 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. That's probably fair.
Yeah, I said 3-4 depending on the weather. 3 or 4 depending on the weather. I thought this might be one of the weather tests. Now it's out of the way. We've got to really hope for a flat one at the MCG. Yeah.
Well, we also have to quickly touch on, and Akash has kindly pointed out that England have started the World Test Championship, and we're going to be on negative points after the first game. So we slow over rate. I think we're getting docked 5 points, aren't we?
Yeah, but didn't we? Hold on, we won a Test and drew a Test against India. So how are we on negative points?
I thought. Well, did we?
Yeah.
Okay, well maybe we're not on negative points then. Well,
we've gone backwards.
Games are part of the, I didn't realise they were part of the WTC.
WTC, yeah. They were. Anyway, should we wrap this up? We might be back. Isn't there something we have to talk about Virat Kohli?
About what him being
we're not doing
the night
now.
of the long the night of the long knives.
Night of the long knives. Maybe we'll do that on Monday. We'll see. talk about the pink ball test, talk about selection, all of the fun stuff. But we've got a couple of days off now.
Yeah.
What are you going to be doing? What are you going to be doing with your time off?
Just going through our Twitter questions, mate. Is there any more that we've got on Twitter? The Truth asks, will Joe Root break most runs in a calendar year record?
No.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. It's close. He'll be close. What does he need? 200 in 2 tests?
I reckon.
I think, yeah. I'd like him to get a century in Australia this year, because then it would be, the Eunice Khan year's great. The Michael Clark's got a year where he averaged 100. Viv Richards is second. They are all stellar years, but I do think in this era of batting, going Sri Lanka, India at home, Australia away, and scoring centuries in all of those you're about as complete as any batter has ever been. You're not stat padding at all that year. They're all top runs. So he's as good as anyone has ever been, I think, really.
Game within the game.
Yeah. Anyway, let's wrap up, Ross. Been a pleasure talking about cricket with you.
Yeah. Yeah, people should like this. People like this video. Follow us at the Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll be back we'll definitely be covering all of the Ashes tests. So subscribe to this, and we'll be back with you 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, depending on when we can be asked to get up and work. Yeah. So
the next test finishes at like midday, so it'll be lunchtimes for the next one, won't it?
Oh, and one of our single has just put England total was 9 points out of 60 in World Test Championship.
That's good.
So far.
That's really good. 9 points. It's relegation form. We're going down into the Island Afghanistan division. Right, we are going to wrap up. If you're listening on YouTube, go over to one of the audio channels, because we've got a jingle we can use on there, which we can't put on YouTube, which I think you'll like. So do that. Be a cross format hero. Goodbye.